create YouTube videos that attract new customers. On behalf of YouTube and Grow with Google, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. My name is Maxwell, and as a YouTube product marketing manager, I get to work on many things, including how to get businesses just like yours, building content that tells your story. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Grow with Google helps people grow their skills, their careers, their businesses, and much more by offering free digital trainings and tools. And given the important role of video in all of our lives, they've invited our team here at YouTube to give what we hope you'll find to be an interesting talk. A big thank you to the creators you'll meet today from Tongle.com, from Shuttle Rock, and from Animoto. And of course, a huge thank you and shout outs to the Lake Havasu Area Chamber of Commerce, the Idaho SBDC, the Basalt Regional Library, and the many other amazing Grow with Google partners who are hosting viewing parties. We truly, truly appreciate your work. We wouldn't be here without you all. So now that we're ready, let's dive in. To understand what you all might be most interested in when we were planning today's session, we partnered with our YouTube Culture and Trends team. See, this team, they study trends of what people are searching for on YouTube. And over the past year, they found something interesting. They found that views of tutorial videos that were related to video editing or how to make a video increased over 100%. And while this could be for a variety of reasons, one pocket that we felt drove this was you all, businesses just like yours who are looking for ways to grow and realizing that video is an important part of the equation when you want to reach and acquire new customers. However, before getting started on YouTube, many small and medium businesses are looking to answer a very simple and a very fair question. What do you make on YouTube and how do you make it? There's so much rich content of all different styles. So we wanted to dive into this today. We took this question very seriously, and we partnered with our research pals over at Kantar to analyze 10,000 YouTube video ads from small and medium businesses across the US, across Canada, across UK, Australia, and Korea. And through this research, we uncovered 3 story types, which we'll break down today, as well as 9 creative techniques that our guest creators will teach us later. See, keep in mind, these are not hard rules, but rather areas to anchor your thinking on so that you can start building videos as soon as possible, like I promised. Let's jump into the story types. First story type that we saw in this sample of 10,000 videos was the business story. Some may call this the manifesto ad or the why ad or the mood ad, but whatever you call it, it's the story of you. This is your chance to show your business's personality and to build a connection with potential customers. The business story it's less salesy and it's more about highlighting your values. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it as a business? Let's take a look at one.
Hadman Design began in 2013. We build hardwood furniture from dining tables and benches to coffee tables and bed frames. We build everything by hand and all made to order, which means we can customize any order for free. All of our wood is locally sourced, ecological hardwood.
It's a magical and mystical performance.
As you may have felt, the business story is just as much about the people behind the scenes as it is about the product or service you sell. Now on to our second story type, the product or service story. This is a bread and butter go-to story type to many small businesses. For those of you who were around in the 90s, you might remember the Billy Mays 1-800-1999 buy now OxyClean commercials. Yeah, that's a product story. A product or service story is your chance to explain the benefits of your product or service and to get into the details of how it works. You can then cover off on the problem it solves, and most of all, direct your audience to taking some sort of action. Let's watch a quick example from a YouTube small business.
What's the door? Twist it round and rest it on here.
Lizzie.
Yeah, I've got it. Dad, my computer's broke. Fluffy. This way.
Lower it.
Lower. Perfect.
Amazing.
Blue hacks from BlueTack. What do you do with yours?
Unlike the business story we saw before, where you focus on the business and why it exists, the product or service story focuses on, well, the product or service. And it's a great way to move potential customers from being aware of your product to being interested in making an actual purchase. And the last of the 3 story types to anchor our thinking on before we bring out our guest creators is the promotional story. This story type is great for announcing special deals or timely offers. For example, Keep in mind that a promotional story, in my opinion, lands best if customers have already seen your brand story so that they understand who you are, and also seen your product story to understand how your product works. So think of these three as coexisting, not being one or the other. And also keep these in mind as you plan your next story. Now, I know what you're thinking. Max, how are we going to make these videos? I'll tell you how we're going to make these videos. For this next segment, we've invited in our creative pals from Tongle.com, from Animoto, and from Shuttle Rock, who are going to help us break down 9 common production techniques. Don't blink. This is supposed to be fast. Our goal is to get you exposed to a wide range of creative tools, creative approaches, and a new creative vocabulary so that you can continue your creative journey on YouTube after today. Diving in, first up on the list of common techniques should be no surprise to you, selfie style. This is bread and butter, and it's what brings YouTube to life every day. It has for years. It's just simply when someone representing your brand is in the middle of your story, telling the story of what you do. Let's watch a few seconds to level set.
Hey, listen to me. For free. I know you and I both love free stuff. This is what you get with the free month trial. Listen.
3-month trial.
I started using Curology a little over 2 months ago. They make a custom prescribed formula. I know when I heard that I was like, what? But it's this. This is called the super bottle. That's what they call it. And I'm pretty sure they call it that for a reason. Honestly, for me, I think I started seeing results after 2 weeks. That's when I started noticing that my skin wasn't as dry. Oh, did I even mention I don't have foundation on right now? That's not a shock to you, but it's a shock to me.
We see a ton of great small business videos where you just film yourself talking authentically and honestly about your product or giving a demo. And what I love most is that it's simple. And it's an authentic and quick way to put your message out there or build a connection with viewers. So how do we do this? Please join me in welcoming our first creator, YouTube creator, business coach, and our good friend out of LA, Adrian Finch.
Thanks, Max. And hello, small businesses and Grow with Google partners. I'm YouTube creator and business coach Adrian Finch, and today I'm going to teach you how to make amazing videos that feature one person speaking directly to camera. I film videos like this all the time on my YouTube channel, and here are 6 key things I keep in mind while doing so. First, you'll want to choose a quiet location where you won't be interrupted while filming. Next, make sure there's a good amount of space behind you so that the camera focuses on you more than the background. Check that the room is free of clutter and that you have permission to use any of the art or logos that are visible in the frame. And feel free to liven up the background with some more props, but make sure they don't distract from you, the presenter. Next, we have lighting. It's important to make sure you're appropriately lit, either using equipment like this ring light or natural light from a window. At the same time, there shouldn't be bright light coming from behind you. A good rule of thumb, make sure the camera is always positioned between you and the light source. If your light source is too close or too intense, try filtering it with something like a sheer curtain or moving further away from the light. For great sounding audio, your best bet is to use a lavalier or a shotgun microphone that plugs directly into your camera. To avoid echo, make sure you're recording in a mid-sized carpeted room with a low ceiling. And don't forget to turn off things like phones, music, and air conditioning to reduce background noise. If you can hear it, your microphone can too. With wardrobe, it's important to be yourself. Dress the way you typically would for a day at work. In general, solid colors work best. Avoid small repeating patterns, prints, logos, or anything that's the same color as your background. Also, avoid accessories that can distract or jingle. And if you wear glasses, make sure to check the lenses for reflections. When it comes to where you should position yourself in the frame, center generally looks best. Don't leave too much space between your head and the top of the frame, but don't cut yourself off either. You'll want to keep your camera around eye level, and you should be at least an arm's length away from the lens. And remember, look directly into the camera as if you're looking directly at your audience. It's engaging and creates a sense of connection, which brings us to tone. Now, this one takes practice. You want the viewers to feel like they know you, and the best way to do that is to speak as if you're at lunch with a close friend, but with a little more energy. Speak clearly, be as concise as possible, and don't forget to relax. If you're having fun, your viewers will too. All right, everyone, those are my 6 best practices for creating amazing selfie-style videos on YouTube. I now challenge you guys to take what you've learned and create a video, even if it's just for practice. But if you do end up posting it, tag me on social media at Adrian Finch. I'd love to see. Best of luck, and happy Small Business Week.
That was awesome. Thank you, Adrian. It's all about putting a real person in the center of your story. And I love the way she broke it down into its core parts to think through when you do. Now that Adrian has walked us through how to get started with that bread and butter selfie style, we're going to turn our attention to another important aspect of bringing your video to life. The background. What's behind you when you're talking and what's not behind you? And looking at these thousands of small business videos, the use of a simple backdrop really stood out. Let's watch a few seconds of this example just to show how far a simple backdrop can take your video.
Dull, tired, and puffy skin. Ugh, it's the worst, and everyone notices. I tried every caffeine skincare product out there, and nothing I used did the trick. So I created my own ingenious solution with Volition Beauty. New Yupon Tea Glow Awakening Moisturizer. Formulated to depuff, blur imperfection, and smooth the appearance of fine lines. With Volition, beauty is what you make of it.
Available exclusively at volitionbeauty.com.
In my free time, I love portrait photography. And fun fact, I used to run a small apparel business with a friend. And understanding how to set up a backdrop was one of the first techniques we invested in learning. To break it down, I am excited to introduce you all to our next guest, who is tuning in from Hawaii. Please join me in welcoming Creative Director Princess and her team at Sunset Culture Marketing.
Thanks, Max. Aloha small businesses and Grow with Google partner. My name is Princess and I'm a content creator based here in Hawaii. Today, I'm going to show you how to find the perfect backdrop that you can use for your videos, you can upload on your socials, YouTube page, website, or anything for your business. Before we tackle the different tips, let me tell you why it's important. A good backdrop allows your viewers to focus on you, your message, and your product. It sets the overall mood and the overall brand of your video. Third, it allows a good impression for your viewers. Today I will show you that finding the right backdrop can be super easy with quick setup and can be within your budget. It's gonna be fun, so let's get started. There are many types of backdrops you can use. The most basic ones are paper, fabric, or just walls. You can find the paper and fabric online or craft stores close by. The ones I have right now, I got it from a craft store close by and it only cost me for just about $4. This paper and fabric is 5x3 and is meant for shooting just from your waist and up. But if you're planning to shoot your whole body or you want more space in the frame, you can always find bigger ones online. Just type photography backdrop and you'll find a lot of good options that are under $50. In terms of color or shade, it honestly depends on you, but solid and neutral colors like blue, white, or black are always good to go to. If you're looking for more dramatic colors or patterns, make sure it's not too distracting. Wear clothes that are not the same color as your background, but colors that would complement it. When setting up your backdrop, make sure that it's flat and clean. Notice any stains and wrinkles because as small as it is, it can be distracting. Wrinkles can cause shadows that can be magnified by the light. You can use double adhesive tape and push pins on all four corners. And for me, I like using both just to make sure it stays up and flat the whole time. Lighting is so important in video production. I use this ring light I purchased online for just around $25. I position it in front of me or right behind the camera. Make sure to adjust the lighting setting if it's available so it's not too bright. Another option is you can always use natural lighting. Just make sure you do it before it gets dark. You can also use the lights from your home. Just make sure that your position doesn't cause any shadows, especially around your face. As for positioning, don't stay too close to your backdrop. Stand about 2 to 3 feet from your backdrop. This allows more focus and depth on you as the speaker. I hope you enjoyed this video and realize how simple yet important it is to find good backdrops when creating content for your business. Happy Small Business Week!
Thank you, Princess. It's amazing to see how much you can do with just a little bit of paper. We'll hear more from Princess later, so be sure to stick around. Okay, so we've covered selfie style. Then we took a step deeper into thinking about how the backdrop works thanks to Princess. And in each scenario, we focused on the person who is on screen, but what if there isn't a person on screen talking to the camera? See, this is where voiceover really matters, and this is where it comes in handy. Voiceover is a technique we see often in small business videos, and it's a helpful way to bring your story to life when what you show on screen isn't a person talking. Quick example to get us on the same page.
Who's a good food? Who's made with premium ingredients from farms we know and trust? Who's a very, very good food? See what good nutrition is made of.
And as a side note, it does not hurt to have a cute puppy in your video. So what do we need to keep in mind when doing a voiceover? Is it as simple as just talking into a recorder, or is there more to it? To help us break it down, I am so excited to pass the mic to our next guest, tuning in from the Netherlands, Alex and the team at Drop of Lemon Studio.
This is Alex, and what he doesn't know yet is that he is going to explain you how to make the perfect voiceover. What's the matter, Alex? Wait, sorry, I can't understand. What do you say? Maybe it's your accent or something, but I just can't.
Hi Max, and hello to all small businesses and Grow with Google partners. I'm Alex, I'm from Drop of Lemon Studio, and I'm gonna talk to you about making voiceovers. Voiceover is a monologue from an off-camera presence. So what I'm doing right now is talking directly into the camera. This is not a voiceover.
But I am a voiceover.
Shh. A voiceover is literally a voice over your images. It can be used to promote your business, to inform your customers, basically anything where an extra voice is needed. So it's a no-brainer that voiceovers are pretty important for selling your product or service. But still, the quality of some voiceovers is pretty bad. I've seen a lot of videos where the audio was recorded from a camera far away or a phone far away. But with a few simple tricks, we can make your voiceover sound amazing. Plus, most of the things you already have at home, and it's for free. If you really want to get serious about audio production, then you need to invest in a microphone, audio recorder, microphone filters, pop filters, cables. And there's so many variations and possibilities, like Rode and Sennheiser. Sennheiser is known for versatility. So, should you invest in audio equipment? You definitely should, but only if you want to. Yeah. But because you invested all the money in your business, we'll show you the no-budget version. And the bare minimum audio recorder you need is this one. These microphones on some of these smartphones are really good, and there are a lot of different applications you can use to record audio, but I'll suggest just to use the standard recording app on the phone. The first step, create a quiet place. I guess you don't have a recording studio, so important is to find a nice quiet place somewhere in your home, somewhere in your surroundings, or create it by using pillow, blankets, anything that absorbs sound. And also make sure to avoid any kinds of noises around you. Air condition, traffic, your neighbor's dog barking. Be aware of them and try to reduce it as much as possible. Step 2, stay close to the source. Meaning that your microphone should be close to your mouth. But not too close or it's gonna sound all fuzzy and poppy but also not too far away because then it's all echoey. And the best possible way to record the audio of your smartphone is at a 45-degree angle. And ideally, you put a pillow behind it to reduce any echo. Hello, yes, I'm Alex, I make voiceover videos. Step 3, doing the voiceover. You don't have to be the next Morgan Freeman. Your voice is just fine. You can hear my German little accent, but that shouldn't matter. It's your voice, it's your company, it's charming. It's how you talk about it, with the enthusiasm, the right pronunciation, and the right volume and pacing. And what would definitely help is writing a voiceover script. Step 4, always record multiple takes. Always record multiple takes. In post-production, you can pick and choose which takes worked out the best depending on the video content you have, but also you can forge it all into one cohesive story. Speaking about post-production, there are different softwares you can use to clean up your audio. I would recommend Audacity. It's a free available program and it allows you to really fine-tune and enhance and make your voice as crispy as possible. After cleaning up the audio, you can start editing your video. I would start laying out the voiceover and make a cohesive story, because this will be the pacing and the rhythm of your video. After you pick and choose the best quotes, make sure that the audio doesn't just cut off. Add little fades, little volume changes to make it as smooth as possible. Add some music to see how it works with the voiceover, and then start adding your footage. After you edited your video, got your voiceover, your music, share it with your friends and family, get some feedback, hear what they have to say about it. Does it work? In conclusion, it can be pretty hard to record good audio, but with a couple of simple tools and tips, it really, really works. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Happy Small Business Week, everyone. Back to you, Maxwell.
Thank you, Alex. That was awesome. And one thing I especially appreciate is that voiceover isn't about having an extensive knowledge of videography or a perfect voice, like Alex already said. It's about just having a well thought out message. We'll hear more from Alex later, so let's keep the train running. Okay, now so far we've run through a series of techniques that haven't really been about your camera. We talked about selfie style, which is how you bring a person into the story. We've talked about the backdrop, which is about what's behind you. And then we talked about voiceover, which is around how to use audio. But what if your video needs to do more than face a person? This is where point and shoot comes in handy. Let's watch a quick example. As you may have noticed, this video, it incorporates more motion and more panning and zooming to make the video feel action-oriented, energetic, and exciting. Speaking of energetic and exciting, I cannot think of a more energetic and exciting guest to bring on this next segment. Please join me in welcoming our next guest, tuning in from Miami, Manny of the Me Media Productions team.
Hi, small businesses, and grow with Google partners. I'm Manny from Miami, and I'm the owner and operator of Me Media Productions. As a small business myself, I understand that content is king in the digital space. I heard that you want to learn how to do point and shoot video so you can promote your business on YouTube. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how. If only we can just go around capturing what our eyes see, but unfortunately, that's not the case. The basic equipment you need, no matter the size, is gonna be a camera, a lens, and some method of recording audio. The beautiful thing is that you have everything you need right there on your smartphone. Even if you don't have a microphone, you can get away with finding royalty-free music and some sound effects that matches the tone of your video. And in matter of fact, YouTube has an amazing free library of audio that you can use, so it relieves any stress. It's very important to know, especially if you're just starting out, to get smooth handheld shots. All you need to do is figure out how to get 3 points of stabilization while you're holding your camera, which means you have to find a way of getting 3 points of contact with your camera, whether that's with the ground, your hands, or your camera strap. If you're using a tripod, each leg is a point of contact with the ground. If you're using a monopod, you have 1 point of contact with the ground and 2 with your hands. Actually, a monopod is a great tool that's very affordable that you can buy on Amazon for $20 to $50. Or if you're using a camera strap, wrap it around your body and it helps give you maximum tension. If you're just using your phone, make sure you turn on image stabilization. Some phones may not have it, and if not, don't worry. All you have to do is make sure you get no to very slow movements. And if you're using your phone, this would be a great time to use your monopod. Now let's talk about what you need to be looking for when you're shooting. The 3 basic components you need to worry about are your foreground, your midground, and your background. So in order for you to build beautiful works of art, you need to be consistently thinking about these 3 elements and how they play off one another. This is how you're gonna build a visual story. Don't forget, you have a subject, a product that's gonna be living in between these 3 elements, while also determining how they're gonna be interacting with one another. You know what? Let's go to the backyard and kind of play around with some different subject matters. Let's do this. This is gonna be our visual example for today, a bouquet of flowers. We have all 3 elements right here. A foreground, which is something right in front of the lens, our midground, which is where our subject is gonna be living, and our background, which is everything behind our main subject that usually is blurred out. It won't be your main attention grabber, but it helps elevate your image. No, it's your choice where you want the subject or product to live. Let's first focus on our midground, where our subject is gonna be living. Right now, our background is just a boring, ugly fence. Though, if we make some small tweaks in the camera, we now make our background more aesthetically pleasing. Just by changing where the lens is facing, we have now a more visually pleasing background. Just by adding some hedges. It really helps complement the colors of the flowers. Now, let's add some elements in the foreground, like this fake houseplant. You could see the before and after and how it adds more of a visual interest to our main subject, while filling in some of the dead space. Now we can add some movement to help give it that feeling of being alive, and notice how the foreground elements help sell that movement. You'll be surprised how everyday objects can really elevate your story. Now that you've figured out your composition, let's make sure you get the 3 basic forms of coverage: your wide, your medium, and your close-up. Make sure you give yourself at least 10 seconds worth of stable shots to give yourself enough time to cut in the editing room. Then all you have to do is continuously repeat these steps for any subject you're shooting. I really want you to focus on getting a lot of practice with building your frames, so that way you can figure out what works best for you. Continuously practicing and thinking about how to shoot beautiful images just builds your confidence in your filmmaking abilities. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Small Business Week. Can't wait to see what you produce.
Thank you, Manny. That was an incredibly thorough and helpful overview. For those of you looking to gain more of Manny's wisdom, please reach out to him and his team directly. Now that we're on the topic of the camera basics, I'm excited to bring another style into the mix, and a personal favorite of mine, top-down shots. I think you get the idea, but let's watch a quick example.
Let's skip resolutions this year, because what makes the biggest impact are the little things, like taking vitamins made just for you from Care Up. Just take the quiz to find out what supplements your body actually needs.
The top-down shot came up a lot in our research, and I'll tell you why I think that is. Throughout this past year, as we saw businesses close up in-person shopping left and right, the use of top-down became more than just a production technique. Top-down shots offer a way to bring sort of a tactile sensation into a contactless world. And to show you a few crafty ways of nailing the top-down shot, let's jump back over to the Netherlands with our pal Alex in the studio.
Thanks, Max. Hello, small businesses and Grow with Google partners. I'm Alex from Draw of Lemon Studio, here to talk to you about the top-down shots. A top-down shot is used for showing off and interacting with your product or service. It gives the video a feeling that the customers have your product in their hand. So how do you achieve your own top-down shot? Oh, well, that's super easy. If you have all of this, well, it's nice to have, but definitely not necessary. We'll show an easier way how to reproduce the same shot. Let's get started. Step 1. Get the right setup. Let's begin by finding a large, non-wobbly table that's cleaned up and ready to go. Find the right scene that really stands out. Look around, try different colors, textures, and objects. You can make it into a white, clean top-down shot, like this one, or you can create a setup that feels more alive. Add some pencils, a plant, a cup of coffee. Make it personal. Important is that no matter what the setup is, the focus remains in the middle, where your product is being showcased. The best light source is the sun, especially on a cloudy day. It creates a very consistent and soft light. So on a cloudy day, put your table next to a window. But beware, the weather changes and can be very inconsistent. With extra lamps, you can create your own lighting environment. So you might consider buying some cheap, affordable LED lights. But if it doesn't work for you, you can also consider just using a desk light. Step 3, putting the camera in the right position. Make sure to go for something sturdy. You can rent or invest in tripods that can be pulled out and used over your table. You can also set up a regular tripod on top of a table and bend it slightly forward. Make sure you don't see the tripod's legs, and be careful because this makes the camera very unstable and can easily fall over. If you're working with a smartphone, you can use a gooseneck stand or a clamp with a phone mount attached to it. These things are great, cheap, and you can basically clamp it anywhere. Or just be creative. Like here, I made a quick setup with some boxes and a plank on top, put the smartphone just over the edge, and voila. But be careful. Make sure it's bump-proof and doesn't fall over. Try adding some corner brackets, weights, or just even duct tape. Step 4. Workflow. After setting up the shot, you can begin your video. Make sure to show all sides of your products while you're shooting, and use a voiceover for explaining your product.
Hey guys, have you ever faced the same problem as me? Don't know how to open this banana? Well, with my new Banana 2.0, it's easier than ever to open a banana.
Yeah. And don't forget to do multiple takes and zoom in or even move your camera closer so you can choose the best shots during editing and make it more dynamic. And that's it. Make sure to have fun. That's what it's all about. Thank you for watching and good luck with your upcoming video productions. Now, back to you, Max.
The banana really helped to drive the point home. And thank you, Alex, for both of your incredibly awesome talks. For those of you still laughing, don't forget to please reach out to Alex and his team for more information if the top-down shot or the voiceover appeals to what you're trying to build. All right, so cranking up the notch a bit. What if your product or service isn't something that can be set down and recorded on camera? What if your product or service is best shown when it's being used? This next segment is just about that. In action. The in action technique is one we see a lot. And it's a great way to get viewers better understanding how your product looks, how it works, and how it operates. Let's watch an example. You see what I mean? Glow offers online yoga, meditation, Pilates, and fitness classes, and I guess they decided that their story was better told in action, and I see why. It's not to say that the backdrop isn't the right style for them or that voiceover isn't the right style. Neither is right or wrong. It's just about what works for you. And to point us in the right direction when setting up the in-action shot, I'm excited to jump back over to Princess in Hawaii. If you're just now logging in, definitely check out some of her earlier presentation and some of the great work that her team does. They have a real knack for bringing mobility and movement into videos in a way that makes you feel as though you're right there using it and testing it. Over to you, Princess.
Thanks, Max. Hello again to our small businesses and Grow with Google partners. My name is Princess, and I'm also a small business owner and content creator located here in Hawaii. Today, I'm going to show you how to shoot your products in action. In addition to the normal static tabletop or simple backdrop shoot, it's very important that you show your product how it's used in the wild and by real customers. You can shoot these videos using a camera or your phone, and other equipment that I use in addition to this is a monopod, which is very affordable and can be easily found online. Now that you know the importance of this and the basic equipment needed, let's get started on some tips that will help you in shooting your products in action. Tip number 1 is to create a story around it. Think about all the elements that can complement your product, like what problem does it solve, where is it usually used, and how do I want my customers to feel when they are holding it. Consider adding the answer to questions like this to your video. For example, if my product is a ukulele, I would consider using a musician or my target audience, and I would make sure to shoot it at a quiet place. Also, the emotions of the models or actors send the message to viewers and are very important. Tip number 2 is use different kinds of angles and shots when shooting. Different kinds of angles can take your video to the next level. So for example, if your product is a skincare cream, consider alternating close-up shots and wide-angle shots. Another favorite shot of mine is texture shots. Texture shots are all about patterns, colors, and depth, and every single detail of a texture plays a significant role in the overall perception of the video. This allows your viewers to be mesmerized and take a closer look at your product. Tip number 3, lighting is so important just like with any other videos. It's a little trickier when you shoot outside, so here are a few tips. Timing is key. For example, if you're a skateboarding company and you're looking to show your skateboards in action outside, timing is key. Avoid shooting when the sun is at its brightest, like early afternoon. This is a time when lighting from the sun can make your videos too bright. Golden hour is the most ideal time for me. Generally, golden hour looks good because it gives people in landscapes a flattering, natural look. Tip 4 is to hunt for a location that will make the composition of your video look nice. This can be a balanced background like this natural scenery. Don't have too many background elements, which can be distracting. As you think about finding a good outdoor location, here are some tips. Number 1, walk or drive around and see what looks good for your product based on different factors. The color, lighting during the time you're planning to shoot, the other elements you want to include in your video, etc. Number 2, look for inspiration online. You can always Google or search on YouTube what local spots are around that are eye-catchy and can give more value to your video. Shooting your product in action can be really fun. This can help your viewers turn into customers. Good luck and happy Small Business Week!
Thank you again, Princess, for another thoughtful overview. Also, those locations were amazing. We're going to have to come visit you in Hawaii soon for research purposes, we'll call it. Okay, so we've walked through a few ways to bring your video to life, but one of the best things about video is that you can play around with more than just the footage your viewer sees on screen. You can also play around with the text they read. we've seen some fun and versatile uses of text, from text being used to highlight what the narrator is saying, to some videos that have no narration at all, just visuals and text. Let's take a look at a fun example. I like that a lot. And to help us gain a starting point of how to approach text, I'm very excited to introduce our next guest out of Colombia, David.
Thanks, Max, and hey to you, small businesses and Grow with Google partners. My name is David, and I'm an editor and filmmaker from Colombia. I'd like to welcome you to this quick tutorial on how to add text to your YouTube videos and why that matters. So let's jump right in with an example and figure out how to do it. Of course, what your text says, it's very important because your message must be clear and understandable. But how you design the text is also very important. The font, the size, the color, the duration on screen, all have an impact on how your audiences perceive the video. Imagine we sell equipment to work from home and we just made a video showing how the product is used. As you can see, this video has no voiceover, so it's really important to rely on visible text to explain what's happening. On-screen text serves our main goal, to invite people to try our product, and it's also a great way to make your product really stick in people's minds. Now I'm going to show you how to add basic text to your video to make your message more clear using DaVinci Resolve. This is a great free software, but the principles of adding text to videos are roughly the same in any editing software, even in smartphone apps. The first thing we're going to do is to create a new project. The name doesn't matter, and we're gonna import our video, the video that we already have. So import media, open, and change. And we're gonna go to the edit tab and drag the video to the editing timeline. So let's go to the effects library and titles and just drag a text and put it on top. Because our video here doesn't have any text, we have to make it speak. We have to let the viewers know what we want them to know. When thinking about font, you want to choose something that is bold enough to be visible on mobile screens and something you can reuse across all your brand content. For color, we're gonna go with yellow so it stands out, and just a little bit bigger. And down here, a little bit of shadow, drop shadow, let's offset it a little bit so it's visible, less blurry. Here we can fade the text so it enters more smoothly. And also, because our video does this, we also want to fade it out. And let's add a second text, or we can copy it using Alt and dragging. Now, it is important to start strong, to immediately catch their eye, to get their attention. And we have to intrigue them, talk about a problem they might be having. In YouTube videos, there is no time to waste. We have to get their attention and immediately offer a solution. Alt and drag, and that will copy our text. And here we can maybe give some information about where to find us, how to purchase our product. So let's not cover the product, just cover the screen. Now that our video is done, we can export it going to the Deliver tab and then choose a name for the file. So add to render queue, the location is going to be on the desktop, and now render all. That's it for today. I hope this video was interesting and helpful to you. If you want to keep learning about how to edit your videos, check out my channel. For now, happy Small Business Week to you, and back to you, Max.
Thank you, David, so much. Not only do I appreciate your helpful take, but it's also nice to kind of get a sneak peek into some of the free software tools that exist out there when it comes to text editing. All right, so if you're still with us, thank you. We have covered a lot today. And while I hope you all start playing around with some of these techniques, the reality is that some of you just may not do this. Maybe shooting videos on your own isn't your cup of tea right now. And that's okay. Our final segments are just for you. In looking through this sample of ads that I keep referencing, we see videos that come together in a lot of non-traditional ways that don't necessarily include a camera. One specifically is through the use of simple still images. And you may already have some lying around. So, for example, let's take a look at how this business has used still images as well as just a little bit of voiceover and text to bring their story to life.
In-store and online, StruckTube is your destination to discover a full range of modern furniture at exceptionally low prices. Take advantage now of our free delivery with any purchase over $299. StruckTube, low prices, amazing styles.
So how do you tap into this technique? While there are many great platforms, I'm excited to be joined by Sally, a friend of ours for many years and the Chief Video Officer of Animoto. Over to you, Sally.
Thanks, Max, and hello, small businesses. My name is Sally Sargood, and I'm the Chief Video Officer at Animoto. We've been partnering with YouTube since 2017, enabling small businesses to create videos themselves to promote their products and services. We're an online DIY platform that makes video creation so easy that anyone can do it. We've seen small businesses embrace Animoto with over 1 million of them using it for their marketing and advertising videos. Today, in less than 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how to turn your images into a YouTube-ready video, even if you have no experience in video editing. We have YouTube-specific templates with a bunch of best practices built in, including the ones that I'm going to talk about today. So, are we ready? Let's go. When creating videos using stills, there are a number of best practices to keep in mind. For the next few minutes, I'm going to talk you through my top 5 best practices for creating great videos using just still images. So the first one is to make sure you're using images that are bright and attention-grabbing. Darker images won't stand out as much, whereas brighter images will not only catch their eye, but also keep the viewer's attention. Number 2 is to zoom in. So when adding your images to the video, make sure you zoom in and crop it in nice and tight to the image. Studies actually show that using tight shots of people or animals retains the viewer's attention more than a wide focus shot. So try to fill the frame with the subject more than the background. Next up, use negative space for your text. So even though we love those tight shots, keep in mind that text helps drive home the point and deliver your message. So when using text, we also need to make sure that it's legible and doesn't compete with the imagery you're using. So you can do this by either creating some negative space on the screen, by moving your subject either to the left or right, or even on the top or bottom, so you can create some space to place the text clearly. Number 4 is using effects like a photo burst. So one great way to introduce motion into your video is to use something like a photo burst. So this is a series of images that appear in rapid succession. The photo burst transitions will captivate your viewer and allow you also to show more images in less time. And finally, once you have your imagery and copy finalized, incorporate your personality and colors into it and create a look that's consistent with your brand. So this will help your videos stand out and be consistent with what you represent as a business, but also increase the professional look of your videos. So by including these best practices, we know that your videos will be fantastic. So let's have a look at a finished product now. Super fun and super easy. So the great part is that this isn't hard to do. Tools like Animoto can turn you into a video producer within minutes. So everything that I've talked about today is possible to do with Animoto's drag and drop interface. Everything from the zoom, the text, the colors, even stock. So if you don't have your own images, we have over 1 million Getty Images photos and video clips too, as well as the licensed music library for you to access, or you can also upload your own. So many people are never able to launch an ad because they feel like it needs to be perfect, but our suggestion is not to let perfection stand in your way. Start small, finish one video, test it, then iterate, and you're off and running. So thank you so much. Happy Small Business Week and happy video making.
Thank you, Sally. As always, that was fun and energizing. And for those of you who resonate with this style, definitely check out some of the things Animoto has to offer. Now, for our final, and one of my personal favorite techniques seen in our research, animation and motion graphics. Let's get on the same page about what this means with a quick example. Our final guest is a close partner of the YouTube team, and this company has really made animation and motion graphics more accessible and affordable than ever. Please join me in welcoming our friend and director of content at Shuttle Rock, Danny.
Hello, my name is Danny, Director of Content and Strategy at Shuttle Rock, coming to you from New York. We are thrilled to be joining you at International Small Business Week thanks to YouTube. Today we're going to be taking you through how to elevate your video creative through animation, and better yet, using things you already have. So let's get to it. Animating your key message beyond generic subtitles can help your message be easily understood. Here's a fun fact. The human eye can read 300 words a minute as a sentence. But by removing the need to move your eyes, you can read up to 500 words a minute. However, not every word needs to be animated. Let's take a look at how we brought Factor's key message to life using their existing assets.
Wish healthy eating was easier? Factor is on a mission to make healthy eating easy and delicious. Like, really delicious. Our food is designed by world-class chefs, delivered fresh, never frozen, and is ready in minutes. Get $60 off your first 2 weeks using code GETFACTOR60 today.
Transitions leveraging graphic elements help take your audience on a journey. Linking your frames in a creative way helps retain your audience's attention. Inspiration could be right in front of you. Think of your logo or brand guidelines as inspiration for these transitions. Even your website or social media posts can have shapes and elements that could be brought to life with animation. Good news is you don't need a lot to get started. Let's take a look at how we took Event Stable's key brand colors, website, and guidelines to inspire the transitions in this video.
Event season is coming. Take it outside with Event Stable. Event Stable has the folding chairs and tables you need to take it outside. Contact us for wholesale discounts and free shipping deals. Visit eventstable.com today and get a quote.
Your logos and icons can lead a whole new life with a little animation magic. Animating your logo can capture attention, and how you animate it can show off your brand's personality. Let's take a look at some examples. First up, Babbel, who keeps it simple with their logo animation, but still garners great impact.
Learn a new language with Babbel. The more you learn, the more you understand. Because understanding changes everything. Babbel, download the app now.
Gardening Express have 4 key icons: a plant, box, truck, and a door. By animating these, we simplify their offering so it's easy to understand.
Plants delivered to your door. 5-year guarantee. Planted, grown, and delivered to you. Order today.
Lastly, Sife animates their icons to show the audience the benefits of investing with them in a short amount of time. Those were a few examples of how you can incorporate motion into your video creative. Hopefully you're inspired to try a few of them out. If you need a helping hand, Shuttle Rock works with small businesses just like you saw today. We take existing assets to create bespoke video in less than 72 hours. So feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, have a great small business week and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, Danny, and thank you to all the small businesses who have tuned in today. We're wrapping up and transitioning to the Q&A section, but first I want to share a few additional resources with you. At this point, hopefully you are more comfortable creating easy, impactful YouTube videos for your business. And as a next step, we recommend visiting youtube.com/ads to learn more about how to get started and how to begin your YouTube advertising journey. Also, we've made it easier than ever to start advertising on the platform with a new flow that only takes a few minutes to set up. Also, on youtube.com/ads, you can discover more creative partners to meet up with, a free YouTube small business playbook, and a very exciting tool called Find My Audience, where you can learn who your most valuable customers are on YouTube and how to reach them. Now, give us just a few minutes to pass it off to Anna, who will answer some of the questions you submitted earlier.
Thanks, Max. I'm going to cover some Q&A from the workshop today. First question, this was a helpful DIY overview, but how do we follow up if we want to partner with a video producer? In addition to following up directly with the wonderful creative makers we heard from today, we also have a great directory of 20 plus creative partners on youtube.com/ads. And in fact, you heard from 3 of them today, Shuttle Rock, Inamoto, and the creators who we met through the Tongle platform. Like them, there are many creative partners who are ready to work with small businesses like yours. Next question, what do I do after I have my video? There are a lot of great free YouTube solutions for small businesses. Check out the YouTube Small Biz Playbook, a downloadable step-by-step guide to help you establish an online presence for your business, launch and optimize a YouTube channel, and reach new customers. You can find this resource within the resources section of this Grow On Air segment. In addition, we recommend tuning into YouTube Small Biz Day today to watch inspiring panels and get helpful tips and resources on how to get started on YouTube. All right, next question. We have lots of videos already on our YouTube channel. How do I learn more about advertising on YouTube? YouTube ads will help you to connect to more of the people who matter most to your business and see the results that matter to you, whether you want more views, subscribers, website visits, and more. Learn how to grow your business with YouTube ads on youtube.com/ads. It's actually now easier than ever to see how your YouTube ads are performing with helpful insights into things like impressions, views, and more. You can learn more by going to youtube.com/ads. Okay, my next question. Today was mainly about video production, but can you share a bit more about what type of audiences we can reach on YouTube? Will my video actually be seen by my customers and future customers? This is a great question. We didn't have enough time to get into the audiences that you can reach on YouTube, but we recommend checking out the Find My Audience tool that lives on Think with Google, the tool that helps you find the people who matter most to your business. You'll learn who your most valuable customers are on YouTube, and you'll better understand how to reach them. My last question is, after I get started with my first campaign, when and how often should I create new video ads? Creative is one of the most critical parts of a campaign's success, with Nielsen attributing it to almost 50% of advertising effectiveness. For this reason, it's important to refresh creative to ensure it's timely and relevant. For example, you may want to create new ads when you launch a new product or service, or you may want to create a new ad when you have a special offer or during holidays and special events. All right, that wraps up today's Q&A. Thank you all for joining us for Create YouTube Videos that Attract New Customers. We hope you enjoyed your experience and learned how YouTube can help your small business.
Hello and welcome to today's Partner Digital Series event, Sell More with an Engaging Email Marketing Strategy. Grow with Google helps people grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills training and tools. I'm Stasia, lead educator for Grow with Google, and on behalf of the entire team, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. I'd also like to give a special shout out to our partners for sharing this event with people in their communities and hosting virtual viewing parties. To kick it off, Dave from Constant Contact will talk about how you can use email marketing to sell more online. If you're not an e-commerce business, that's okay. His tips can help you accomplish other business goals too. He'll cover the basics of creating effective email campaigns, how to deliver relevant, personal content on a strategic and automated schedule, and how you can use data to improve your campaigns. Then I'll be back to talk about Google Analytics. I'll show you how you can learn what people did on your website, specifically after clicking a link in an email. We'll finish up with the Q&A. So as you think of questions, please type them into the Q&A section under the video player. Take it away, Dave.
Hello. Thanks so much to Stasia and Google for having me here today to talk about how to sell more with an engaging email marketing strategy. Can you believe it? Here we are in 2021, and we're still talking about email marketing. Now, at Constant Contact, we believe email marketing is the cornerstone of any online marketing strategy. Why? Well, it's simply because time and time again, email marketing proves to be one of the most effective marketing channels. Consider that email has one of the best returns on investment at $42 for every $1 spent. And businesses that use email marketing to nurture and cultivate new and existing customers increase sales, plain and simple. Now, the good news is that it's easy to get started with email marketing, no matter where you are with your business. And as you get more advanced with your approach, you build on the fundamentals that you start with so you can sell more in less time. Now, in parts of this presentation, I'll be referring to a small cosmetics brand founded by Latasha McRae, Peaks Cosmetics. Now, Peaks Cosmetics is a Constant Contact customer, and she sits in that sweet spot of sending regular updates to its entire list. Now, we'll use Peaks Cosmetics as an example and make recommendations on how to make improvements, build on the fundamentals, and progress to reach new levels of success with email marketing, with the ultimate goal, of course, of selling more in less time. Okay, let's get started. First up, 5 quick fundamental tips for good email marketing. Now, if you're already doing email marketing, here's your chance to audit what you're already doing. And if you're new to email marketing, you'll be armed with some great tips to get you started. So tip number 1 is to include 2 types of emails in your strategy: promotional and non-promotional. So what's the difference? Well, promotional emails focus on driving sales, and non-promotional emails focus on sharing relevant information. Why do you need both? Well, because the reality is not everyone is ready to buy something all the time. And so using non-promotional emails allows you to build your brand when people aren't ready to buy, so your business is top of mind when they are ready to buy. Now, together, these 2 types of emails work to keep your business top of mind, help you build relationships, and increase engagement and sales. Now, people often ask us, what should I say in my emails? And regardless of the type of email that you're sending, you're essentially trying to answer 3 questions. And in doing so, you'll end up writing an email designed to drive action, whether that's engagement or sales. So that leads us to tip number 2. Answer these 3 questions. So Peaks Cosmetics and any other business can improve their emails by thinking of email copy like this: a headline to grab a reader's attention, a message body to give them more detail, and a call to action to make it clear what you want them to do. So let's take a closer look. So for your headline, you want to answer the question, what are you offering? For the message body, you want to answer the question, how will it help the reader? And for the call to action, you want to answer, what should they do next? So if we look at the example on the screen, we can see that the headline is offering a chance to get spring savings. It will help the reader by providing 30% off, and they should order now as the next step. Now, here's an interesting tidbit for you. Internally, Google has found that more action-oriented headlines have boosted downstream conversions by up to 18%. Well, that means if your goal is to get someone to make a purchase, using a headline like "Save 20% this week only" may perform better than something passive like 20% off. Now, regardless of the type of email that you're sending, but especially when it comes to those promotional emails, we found it best to keep them focused and keep them simple. So tip number 3 is to, as much as possible, design to drive action. So that means keep it focused on one topic and keep it simple. Think a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. Now, in one experiment, Google saw that focusing on a single call to action compared to 8 in the control drove a 42% higher click-through rate. So keep that in mind. And here's a bonus tip for you. Make sure your link or button takes the reader exactly where they expect to go. If you leave it up to the reader to find what you want them to do or what they're looking for, they're often easily distracted and move on to the next thing without doing that thing you were hoping they'd do. And one last note about design. A simple, clear design plays a role on whether or not people are going to actually consume your email. So if it's overcrowded, unclear, or doesn't take into account how people consume online, it's not going to be as effective. So that means use white space so it looks inviting and avoid those large blocks of text that look like a chore to get through. So be concise and use design to your advantage. Now, what do you want to do with non-promotional emails? Well, that's where tip number 4 comes in. Here, we're trying to add value so people find what you send relevant and interesting. Again, the focus here is on building relationships and keeping your business top of mind. So you'll want to think about what stories can you tell? So let's use Peaks Cosmetics as an example. What stories can they tell? Well, they can talk about social issues that are important to them. They can share their point of view on seasonal trends, how to best use their products, tell stories about their customers, or share education around their processes. Those are just a few ways to keep people engaged and bring them closer to their business. So think about the ways you can provide that value to your customers. To this point, we've talked about individual emails with one topic or idea in them. Newsletters are another option and are often a combination of promotional and non-promotional messages, usually leaning on the non-promotional side. Now, but newsletters can also be a great way to showcase products customers may be interested in, especially if you have many products. So tip number 5 is to use newsletters to your advantage. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Personality is a good way to make your business stand out. So add an introduction that allows you to connect with your audience. Now, this may be a short story with the theme of the information in your newsletter, or some sort of commentary that pulls your audience in on why the information is valuable to them. Now, keep it to 3 sections beyond the intro. Remember, people tend to scan information first, so you want to make it easy for people to consume what you're sending. You want to keep it inviting, which means no big blocks of text, and keep it focused and concise. Now, a good rule of thumb here is to think about sending more often rather than sending everything in one email. That's why we encourage you to limit yourself to 3 sections. The reader will get more from your email, and you'll benefit from a higher sending frequency, as long as you're sending information that's relevant to the people receiving it. It's also a good idea to write a brief intro to each topic and use the Read More button that links to the rest of the information, preferably on your website. This way, people get used to visiting your website, which can provide valuable data to use later. To segment your contacts by learning about your subscribers' interests based on where they click in your email and what they do on your website using a tool like Google Analytics. Now, we'll talk more about segmentation later, but knowing what people are interested in can play a big role in selling more. Now, I'd like you to think back to the last time you received an email from a sender you didn't know or didn't sign up for. What was your initial reaction and what did you do with that email? Now, many of us might get a little worried and wonder how they got our email address and then just delete it, unsubscribe, or mark the email as spam. And these are all very common reactions to getting email that you didn't sign up for. And all the more reason to make sure you have permission when adding people to your business's email list. Now, getting permission from your email subscribers shows them respect for their privacy. When people give you their permission to send them marketing emails, it's going to be more beneficial for both parties. They're saying that they want to hear from you, and they'll be more engaged with your business as long as you continue to send them relevant information. And getting permission not only helps you build lasting relationships, it helps you stay compliant with laws around the world. So what exactly does it mean to get permission? Well, let's take a look. Now, there are a variety of ways people can give you permission, but the best way is for them to explicitly say yes to receiving emails from you. Now, they may verbally request to receive your emails, check a box to sign up during a checkout or donation process, or take an action to sign up through an online form. Regardless of how they sign up, they need to know that they're going to receive emails from your organization. So here are some other things that you'll need to do. When you send your emails, always include your physical address and contact information, as it ties you to being a legitimate business. You'll need to make it easy for people to unsubscribe. Every email should have a link that allows people to remove themselves. And never, ever, ever share your list with other people or businesses. They've given you permission to contact them, not someone else. And lastly, use an email marketing provider like Constant Contact that keeps you compliant with anti-spam laws. The big question is always, how do I know this is working? So at a base level, you'll want to look into your reporting in the form of opens and clicks, which means of the people that you sent the email to, how many of them opened the email, and how many of those people that actually opened the email, how many of them clicked on the link that you included in the email. Now, in retail, for example, Constant Contact data shows that open rates are currently around 11%, and click rates are around 9%. Now, these benchmarks can give you a sense of how you're doing compared to others in retail. But ultimately, since every business is different, you'll want to focus on your benchmarks and how you can improve those. Also, pay attention to the business actions you're trying to drive beyond opens and clicks. If you wanted people to call you, well, how many people called? And if you wanted people to buy something, how many people made a purchase? If you wanted them to visit your website, how many people did that? And as you'll see, Google Analytics can help you see how many people are visiting your site and what people did while they were there. So let's review what we've learned so far. Now, these foundational elements drive your email strategy no matter how long you've been doing email, and remain true even as you get more advanced. So just remember, use both promotional and non-promotional emails to engage your customers. Promotional emails stimulate sales from those ready to buy, and non-promotional emails keep you top of mind for when they are ready to buy. And when sending those promotional emails, keep them simple and focused to driving toward the action you want them to take. And remember, frequency depends on your business and audience. At the very least, send once a month to stay top of mind, and send multiple times in support of an offer, an announcement, a reminder, and a last chance. Now that's email marketing at its most basic level. You're sending at a regular frequency to your entire list to keep your business top of mind and generate more sales. And that's good. But how can you do even better? Well, that's what we'll talk about next. Using segmentation and automation to get better results. Now, in order to get better results from your email marketing, or any marketing for that matter, you'll need to recognize that every one of your contacts is unique. And though they may share some similar interests in your products, they're not all on the same timeline when it comes to their wants, needs, or purchasing behavior. So just take a look at these two subject lines and pre-headers of two emails from the same company. Now, one is spring savings, 20% off, spring colors for your nails and eyes. And the other is be colorful, be bold, how to recreate the top spring looks. Now you'll notice one email is geared toward customers that have shown interest in discounts, where the other is geared to those who are interested in trends and how-tos. Now this is just a simple example of how segmentation can impact your messaging. So let's take a closer look at what that means. So segmentation means splitting your overall list into smaller groups based on something that allows you to send more relevant messaging to each group, with the goal, of course, of getting better results. Now, this sounds good in theory, but does it actually work? Well, some studies have shown a few things. 70% of consumers become frustrated when content isn't relevant to them. When done properly, segmentation can double open rates, and emails that are relevant can drive up to 18 times more revenue. Ultimately, sending targeted emails means you'll see more action, engagement, higher transaction rates, and fewer unsubscribes. So what you're looking to do here is to create smaller groups that have potential to drive worthwhile business goals. So let's take a look at some ways you may think about segmenting your contacts. Now, typically, you'll want to consider 3 buckets when it comes to segmentation: demographic information such as age, income, or marital status. And if it makes sense for your business, geographic information such as zip code, city, or state may be helpful. And another way to segment would be based on actions taken in your emails and purchase behaviors. Now, these actions and behaviors could mean segmenting by the products customers have purchased or the products they clicked on in your email. New customers, recent purchases, repeat customers, customers that are most engaged or least engaged, just to name a few. Another way you can segment is based on your customers' interests. Now, Constant Contact offers a click segmentation tool that allows you to automatically segment contacts based on where they click in your emails. So, for example, Peaks Cosmetics could use click segmentation to create lists based on the types of products people have clicked on. So let's say they send out an email with individual products and makeup kits. They could use click segmentation on the link that leads to information about their makeup kits. Now, behind the scenes, those contacts are added to their makeup kit interest list. And then they can manually follow up or use automation to follow up with more information about the kits to those contacts. Using automation like this is a smart way to save time and get results by automating those emails you send to new contacts all the time based on their interests. Now, what's great about this is that you're actually getting closer to the idea of sending the right message at the right time because the trigger is based on when the contact is expressing interest. So let's take a look at some other ways to use automation. Now, it doesn't get more personal than someone's birthday. And birthday emails are a great way to celebrate with your customers while also encouraging sales. You might include a coupon, a free item, or a complimentary service. Now, anniversary emails can celebrate any milestone with your business, a customer's first purchase, a renewal notice, or even a reminder to purchase. And since anniversary emails are based on a date, they can be particularly helpful for something like cosmetics or personal care products. Take Peaks Cosmetics, for example. If they know a particular product lasts 3 months under normal use, a well-timed time to reorder email can see them adding more sales without doing anything other than setting up the automation. Now, of course, if you're using an e-commerce platform like Shopify, it's a good idea to implement an abandoned cart email to remind people to purchase. Now, this is a simple way to capture sales that may have otherwise been lost. You may even consider including a discount to sweeten the deal. So think about those emails as a gentle reminder. That way they don't come across as creepy or too aggressive. Now, once you're ready to get more sophisticated, you can start thinking about creating a series of automated emails to engage people in a variety of ways based on your goals. Now, one of the most common ways to use an automated series is to welcome people to your business. Now, immediately after someone joins your list, follow up by welcoming them and delivering the offer you entice them to sign up with. Then, in another email, you can let them know all the ways they can connect with your business. And in another, let them know the things that make your business unique. Now, I like this because it helps you start the relationship off on the right foot. Now, another way you can use an automated series is to directly encourage sales. For example, Peaks Cosmetics could go further than one automated makeup kits email and use a series to encourage people to take action. Now, this series could include emails that give reasons why people love their makeup kits, highlight a unique aspect of the makeup kit, or invoke the fear of missing out, or FOMO, by showing the looks of other customers have achieved with their kits. Now, a great way to get customers coming back is to create an onboarding series to show customers how they can make the best use of their purchases. Thank them and show them how to get started with their purchase. Show them some ways to get the most out of the product, and then you can even ask them for feedback or a review. Now, just another note here about frequency. Earlier, we talked about sending at least once a month. But once you start segmenting your list and sending more relevant information, you can get away with sending more frequently. For example, someone who's ready to buy may be more accepting of frequent emails, whereas someone who is unengaged would want to receive less. With those unengaged customers, you want to send just enough to where you're staying top of mind for when they are ready to buy. Now, in order to pull this off and know what's working, you're creating smaller groups of people that make sense for your business, and you're using the data available to you to get better results. And so that means looking specifically at the performance of the emails sent to those groups and tracking the actions they're taking on your website. All right, let's recap. At this point, I hope you're seeing that the more relevant your messages are, the better your results are going to be. Relevancy comes from segmenting your contact list into smaller groups that make sense for your business and customers. Now, be sure to cater your messages to those groups. Then add automation, not only to save yourself time, but to send more timely emails that drive sales. Now, how do you get even better results with email marketing? Well, let's take a look. Getting to the next best level with data and predictive analytics. Now, everything we've talked about up until now can make a significant difference to your sales. We've talked about the importance of sending emails that are both promotional and non-promotional so you can drive repeat business and keep customers longer. We've also talked about how you can segment customers so you can improve your results with more specific messaging, and how automation not only saves you time, but also allows you to send more timely messages. Now, the problem is we're still not reaching our maximum sales potential. We're doing good. We're just not doing as good as we could be doing. Why is that? Well, two reasons. One, we're not digging deep enough into the data. And two, we're still treating our customers as groups of people rather than the individuals that they are. And so, although we've created smaller groups and can be more specific in our messaging, we're still making an educated guess as to the messages and timing that will work for the whole of the group. And it's not that you want to stop doing the things that we've talked about already. Those things still form the foundation of the messages you send. But at this next best level, you're adding a layer that allows you to approach things a bit differently. Think about it like this. Up until this point, we've been playing checkers, when what we really want to do is play chess. Now, in chess, you're thinking moves ahead. You play out scenarios of the moves your opponent may make and what you'll do in response to those moves. If she does this, I'll do that. A simple way to think about this would be to take a look at your email reports and see who the least engaged people are. You can use that data to create a dynamic segment of contacts so it updates automatically. In that group, you're only going to contact once a month to keep your business top of mind and not to cause them to unsubscribe because you're emailing too much. But if they do engage, they'll get moved out of that unengaged bucket and you can start emailing them more frequently. Another example could mean using dynamic content within your email based on something that you know about the contact. So think of a pet supply store using images and product recommendations for cat owners versus dog owners. You can probably already see how something like this would be more effective for your email efforts. Now, in order to get more advanced, it means taking all of the data that's available to you from your email efforts, website behavior, and purchase history. This could mean figuring out what most people buy next after the purchase of a particular product. Now, many people don't do this simply because it's time consuming and it gets increasingly complex as your contact list grows and you expand your product offerings. But for those of you in e-commerce, the artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, and automation in Constant Contact allows you to take our email marketing game to the next best level. So what does that mean? Artificial intelligence, AI, is generally defined as an automated program designed to simulate human learning patterns. So instead of carrying out repetitive sets of commands or waiting for prompts like a computer does, AI receives the data, processes it, and calculates outcomes and probable best actions based on the data. So it's doing that work for you. And it doesn't simply perform preset actions on command. It modifies and rearranges pre-existing options to elicit the best outcome, learning to adapt to circumstances along the way. So what does this really mean? Well, it means you can actually reach the ideal situation of treating each customer as an individual. Something that's difficult to do manually because many of us just don't have the time to spend making sense of the data available to then act at the precise moment each customer should receive the message. But now, instead of creating those lists and blasting those lists, you can do things like serve product recommendations, a price drop, new arrivals, information about items back in stock, and relationship building emails at the right times based on each individual customer, allowing you to sell more in less time. Now, the difference here is that instead of creating those lists of people, you're assembling the pieces, or the plays, if you will, that will automatically go out to the individual based on who they are and what they do. And the AI continues to learn from customer behavior over time. And so the platform is taking the content and creative assets that you supply and then personalizing messages for each customer based on things like optimal time of day to send the message, products of interest to that individual contact, and offers that are likely to convert into sales. So let me show you an example of what this could mean. Here are email examples a cosmetics retailer could send. But using the data we mentioned previously, the images, content, product recommendations, and offers would all be specific to the individual based on what the AI has processed and predicted as best. So what could working at this level mean to a business? On the screen is an example from one of our customers that has seen their conversions, transactions, and revenue all go up year over year. Now, as someone that's been in the email industry for a while now, this is truly exciting because it's fulfilling that promise of getting the right messages to the right people at the right times. But it's taking it one step further so you can send the right message to the right person at the right time while eliminating the guesswork and not requiring ongoing investment from you in terms of time. So it's exciting stuff. And in just an example of what it could mean to get to this level. So let's recap what we've talked about here. Getting to the next level is all about adding to your email marketing foundation. Build on those things that are proven to work. You can take the guesswork out of the data you have with AI. There's no need to feel overwhelmed by the data or not know what to do with it. And lastly, you can use predictive analytics and automation to treat contacts as individuals for best results. Now, the icing on the cake is when you truly get the right message to the right person at the right time. So I'd like to close with a few final thoughts on selling more with an engaging email marketing strategy. Email marketing is good for business. You want to do what you can based on where your business is at the moment. But know that the goal is to use the data available to you as much as possible to send the right messages to the right people at the right times. And if you're in e-commerce, the pinnacle is sending the right message to the right person at the right time. Well, I hope you found this information helpful today and have some new ideas that you can implement for your business. Well, with that, I'll pass it back to Stasia.
Thanks for all the info, Dave. Now, most commercial email marketing platforms like Constant Contact have built-in reporting that show you how people interact with your email campaigns. But how can you learn more about what people did on your site after they arrive via an email? That's where Google Analytics comes in handy. I'll give you a quick overview of Google Analytics, specifically focusing on visitors who came from an email. I'll start with some basic reports and analytics, and then I'll layer in goals, and then finally show you how to create custom campaigns. There's a lot to learn about Google Analytics, and if you're just getting started, you should check out some of our existing workshops. They're available on demand on the Grow with Google On Air website. You're probably on the site right now watching this workshop. You can always come back by visiting g.co/growonair. Search for analytics and you'll see many options, including Make Better Business Decisions with Analytics Parts 1 and 2. Here's a quick overview. Google Analytics is free software that helps you understand the customer experience on your website or mobile app. You can use analytics reports to learn about visitors, how they arrived, and what they did once they got there. You can learn about your audience, their demographics, location they're coming from, what devices they use, and a whole lot more. Now, today's workshop will not go into detail about creating an analytics account, but in a nutshell, you'll create or sign into an account by visiting g.co/analytics. Your account contains properties. A property is basically a container for a set of reports. Each property has a separate piece of tracking code or a tag, and you need to add that tag to the web pages that you want to track. Ideally, this is all of the pages. Let's backtrack for 1 second. There are actually 2 versions of Google Analytics. Today's workshop shows the older version called Universal Analytics. If you created an account before October 2020, you have the older version. The new version is called Google Analytics 4. You can and should use both. It takes just one extra step to set it up, but you'll benefit from having both sets of reports. If you already use the older version, you can add Google Analytics 4. Go to the admin section. Under Property, look for a link that says GA4 Setup Assistant, and then just follow the prompts. If you're setting up a new account or property today, at the property setup step, look for a link that says Show Advanced Settings. Clicking that reveals a section that's labeled Create a Universal Analytics Property. Now you'll see a toggle switch. It's an icon. Click it on and make sure that the option to create both reports is selected. This one extra step creates 2 sets of reports with 1 piece of tracking code. And once you add the tag to your web pages, the data will flow into both sets of reports. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot, especially if you're just getting started. But analytics includes a setup assistant, and there are instructions in the online help center. You can start by visiting g.co/UA setup. Many organizations like Small Business Development Centers, or SBDCs, SCORE chapters, and Chambers of Commerce offer help too. So here's another big shout out to all of our Grow with Google partners. We really appreciate the work that you do supporting small businesses. Okay, that's it for setup. So let's keep going. Remember Dave talked about Peaks Cosmetics? We first saw the business earlier in the workshop. So I'm going to use them as an example as we review analytics reports. Let's imagine that you manage the online marketing for Peaks Cosmetics. So think to yourself, what kinds of questions would you have? You might want to know how sending an email campaign drives traffic to your site. Or you might want to know if visitors who came via that email look at the content that you're promoting. And you'd probably want to know if they complete the actions that you want them to take. Buy that lip gloss. These are the types of things that you can learn from Google Analytics reports. So let's start with level 1, basic reports. Now, this is not an official level. It's just what I'm calling reports that are automatically available. You don't need to do anything extra to see them other than set up Google Analytics. Google Analytics reports are made up of metrics and dimensions. Metrics are quantitative. It means you'll see a number or a ratio, like the number of page views. Dimensions are qualitative. So instead of a number, you see a description of that data. For example, if you were looking at what web browser the visitor was using, you would see Google Chrome. Or if you were looking at what city the visitor came from, you would see Nashville. The 2 important dimensions I'll talk about today are source and medium. Source is the origin of the traffic, and that could be a search engine like Google or another website. Medium tells you how that traffic got to your site. If the source was Google, Medium could be, say, organic or CPC. CPC stands for an ad. If you looked at a dimension that was source/medium, that's a dimension that actually combines these two. So it could be Google/organic and Google/CPC. All right, one more definition, goals. In analytics, a goal is something that you need to set up. And once you do that, you can see conversions in your reports. Conversions show you if visitors take the actions that you want them to. So let's take a look at the first report, real time. It's handy for email marketing because it lets you monitor activity as it happens. So let's just say that you're planning an email campaign for Peaks Cosmetics. The email will send visitors to a landing page that you created for a lip gloss promotion, and you want to monitor the response. You send the email, you look at the real-time reports and analytics, and there's no delay in seeing the activity in these reports. You can see it within seconds. So if you were expecting people to arrive at this landing page that you created and you don't see it happening, it helps you troubleshoot fast. The screenshot that you see shows the traffic sources, where the visitors came from, and the medium, how the visitors got there. You would learn that there are 17 people active on the site right now. The source was a newsletter and the medium was email. Here's another useful set of reports, behavior. They help you understand what people do once they arrive. You can see how many people visit and how much time they spend there, the bounce rate, and more. Here's another tip. You can isolate traffic in your reports. For example, looking at email visitors only by using segments. A segment is just a subset of your data that you can turn on and off in your reports. If you dig a little bit deeper into the behavior section, you'll see this site content report. And here you can learn about visitor engagement on the pages and directories of your site. You can look at specific pages like the lip gloss landing page and learn what visitors did or didn't do once they got there. Let's look at one more set of reports, acquisition. Use this to learn where your visitors came from and see how each channel contributes to your website traffic. Incidentally, the word channel means a method that brings visitors to your site, like an email or pay-per-click advertising or social media. In this example, you see that the traffic arrives from a variety of channels, including email. That was a quick look at some of the basic reports, but let's move on to level 2. To see conversion data, you need to take some extra steps to create goals in your account. Now, please again, note that this information applies to the older version, Universal Analytics. In Google Analytics, a goal helps you understand if your site is meeting your business objectives. In the case of Peaks Cosmetics, the goal might be an online purchase, but you can track different types of goals. It's like submitting a form or watching a video or spending a certain amount of time on the website. So why should you take the time to set up goals in the first place? Well, it's because without them, you can't really tell if your marketing campaigns, like that email that you just sent, is really working. There are 4 basic types of goals. First, destination goals track if a visitor gets to a certain place on your site. For example, the thanks for your order page. A duration goal tracks if visitors spend a minimum amount of time on the site. Pages and screens per session tracks how many pages or screens a visitor views. And event goals track actions, like they watched a video or they downloaded a PDF, and you have to take a few extra steps to set them up. Let's walk through setting up a goal for Peaks Cosmetics. They wanted to know how many people made a purchase through an email campaign promoting their lip gloss. Everyone who does this will reach a thanks for your order page, and that would be the destination goal. To set it up, go to the admin section of your analytics account. Navigate to the property and view for your site. Under view, click the link labeled goals. Now click the button that says plus new goal, and then you'll add some information. Follow the prompts. You'd give it a name, you would select destination for the type, and then you would enter some goal details. The details will depend on the type of goal that you're creating. In this example, you would need to add the URL to that destination page. And that's it. Once you set up a goal, you can track it in analytics. The data will appear in the conversions columns across the reports, and you can see detailed reports in the conversions section too. Okay, you've got a handle on level 1 and level 2 reports. Let's finish up with level 3. This is my favorite section in today's presentation because it can really help you isolate email marketing campaigns. I mean, actually any campaign in Google Analytics reports. And even though I'm calling it level 3, it's not 3 times more difficult to set it up. Custom campaigns allow you to track specific things in your reports, like the activity on your site from an email or even a particular email. Bonus, these custom campaigns are not just for email marketing. You can use it to track the performance of other channels too. All right, so what is a custom campaign? It's a way to see specific traffic in your Google Analytics reports, and you set it up by creating trackable URLs. Why would you bother doing this when you can already see so much in Google Analytics? Well, remember just a few minutes ago when we looked at the real-time reports? Without a custom campaign, visitors who came from your email couldn't be isolated in that report. The source would be labeled direct, and the medium would be labeled none. So you wouldn't be able to tell where they came from. Now, if you had made the landing page that you were using just for this email campaign, you'd know that the traffic probably came from that email. But wouldn't it be much easier if you could just see it labeled in your reports as newsletter and email? So let's just say you were getting ready to send this email promoting the Peaks Cosmetics anniversary sale. And you want to be able to see reports and analytics that label the traffic that came from people who clicked the Shop Here button that you see in this email. So you would create a trackable URL. A trackable URL includes a link to the web page followed by extra information. That extra information is made up of parameters, and there are 3 required parameters: the campaign source, the medium, and name. Just think of a parameter as a label. You'd label them whatever you want. It's to help you identify the traffic in your reports. So if we were making a trackable URL for Peaks Cosmetics for their anniversary sale, it might look something like this. First, the web page. Let's just keep it simple and use the homepage, peakscosmetics.com. After that, you'd add a / and a question mark. Next, you would start adding the extra information, those parameters. Now remember, this is going to appear in your reports. For source, you would add UTM_source equals, and then whatever you want to show in the reports. The source should identify the referrer, like the newsletter. Then you would add an ampersand symbol. Second, you would add, for the medium, UTM_medium equals, and then whatever you want to show in the reports. In this example, we'll add email. All right, you'd add another ampersand symbol, and then third, UTM_campaign equals, and then again, whatever you want to show in the reports. It's the anniversary sale, so we'll use that as the value. Now, when you break it down like this, hopefully it doesn't seem too complicated, but don't worry, there's actually an easier way. You can use a free tool called Campaign URL Builder to help you make these URLs. A link to that tool is at the bottom of this slide. It's also listed in the resources section for this workshop, so don't stress about writing it down. Instead of manually creating a URL, like I showed you how to do on that last slide, instead you can just enter the information into this form on this web page, and then the form creates the trackable URL for you. Take it, you copy that URL, you paste it in the email, and then you can see what happens. If this is your very first time, send a test email to a small group and use the real-time report to make sure that everything is working as you expect it to. You should see that custom campaign appear in the report right away, and it's a great way to troubleshoot before you send to your entire email list. How cool is that? All right, let's recap today's workshop. First, follow Dave's tips to create compelling emails that drive action and add value for your customers. You can get better results from your email campaigns by segmenting your audience, and then explore predictive analytics to level up your marketing efforts. And of course, set up Google Analytics for your website or app. You can use the reports to learn more about your visitors, track conversions by setting up goals, and use custom campaigns to really see how your email campaigns contribute to your site traffic. 3 partners shared some additional tips with us for today's workshop. From the Lake Havasu Chamber of Commerce, if you have multiple people writing emails on behalf of your organization, make sure that each point of contact is utilizing a similar tone. From SCORE, stand out in your subscribers' inboxes by using targeted lists. This helps you make sure that your emails are relevant to the recipient's needs or wants. And from the United States Black Chambers, monitor email marketing analytics and bounce back rates to understand user engagement and the effectiveness of your promotion efforts. You can see all of their tips by accessing the PDF handout in the resources section. And now it's time for our Q&A.
All right, it is time for some Q&A. So thank you to everyone for sending in questions. I have a question here from Sue, and Sue is asking, what should I do if I have more than 3 topics for my newsletter? Okay, so great question. So this, again, as always, as most of the answers you'll get from us here today, it depends on your business. And it's really a question of, are the sections there because they make sense for your business and the people that you're talking to, or are they there just because you wanted to get more information in and just send it out, right? And so that's the big difference. If you're just putting it in because you're trying to get more information in, that's not going to work to your benefit. But if you're putting in those sections because they make sense with the overall theme of your newsletter or what you're sending and your overall business, then that's the better way to think about it. So I would ask yourself that question. Am I just trying to cram something else in there, or does this make sense? Hope that helps, Sue.
Okay, I'll take the next question. This one is from Samil. Samil is asking, we are trying a strategic content partnership with 2 other websites, and we want to be able to see if they're working. Can we track it in Google Analytics like you showed us with the example email? Hey, Samil, the answer is yes. You can create custom campaigns for anything you like. You just need to create trackable URLs. The easiest way is to use the custom campaign URL builder that I showed you in the presentation. There's a link to that in the workshop's resources section. You can track email, social media marketing, guest blog posts, basically any place that sends traffic to your website. And incidentally, you don't need to do this, manually create trackable URLs, if you advertise on Google. Google Ads can do this for you automatically. All right, back to you, Dave.
All right, thanks, Stasia. I have a question here from Mary, and Mary is wondering, how often should we create segments? All right, so this is a great question. So I'm going to answer this kind of in 2 ways. One, if you're creating segments manually, you're probably going to want to do that as much as it makes good business sense to do, right? Meaning you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to create a segment if it's not worth the time investment, right? Where you're not going to get a good business result from creating that segment. But if you're in e-commerce and you're using the AI, well, basically that's going to create these smart segments for you, and it's going to update it based on the actions people are taking. And actually, you're not going to need to think about that at all. And so if you're doing it manually, think about what that means to your time investment. If you're letting the AI do it, let it do it.
Okay, the next question is from Tin. Tin asks, why are there 2 versions of Google Analytics and what's the difference? Hi, Tin. So Google developed the new version of Google Analytics to adapt to changes in consumer behavior and industry standards, mostly to address the evolving privacy guidelines like the restrictions on cookies. One big change is that the new version, which is again called Google Analytics 4, can be used for a website, an app, or both of them together. The older version, which is called Universal Analytics, supports websites only. So if your customers visited your website and your app, it would be really useful to see both of that in your reports, right? So the new Google Analytics is now the default, and it's where Google is making its improvements. But there are some capabilities in the older version that many marketers need before fully replacing their existing analytics setups. So if you have an existing older property, keep it running, but then add Google Analytics 4. And if you're setting up a new property today, we recommend that you set up both versions. I gave a quick overview of that in today's workshop, but again, you can visit g.co/UA setup for more help. Doing this will connect the two properties, which will then let you migrate settings from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4 later on. All right, back to you, Dave.
Okay, I have a question here from Rich, and Rich is asking, how would you treat or what should I send to people who've purchased all services? Thank you, Rich. That's a great question. And one of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier in the session was this idea of an onboarding series, right? So you're sending people information on the different tips and tricks or different ways that they can best take advantage of your products or services. And when you do that, obviously, you make people aware of some things that they might not even know of. I mean, I have tons of little things I'm looking here on my desk that I know I'm not using to their fullest potential. And when I do that, my enjoyment of the product becomes even better, and I have more uses or more ways to do things with that product, right? And so, which in turn makes me, want to tell other people about it. And so really start thinking about all of the little things that you can kind of teach people about, using, or even showing your other customers how they're using those things. And those are all great ways to keep people really engaged and provide value with the emails that you're sending, even if they purchased everything. And who knows, you can even encourage people to give you feedback, and you might figure out some new products or services to create that they will, that they'll buy from you as well. So that's how I think about that, Rich.
Great. Well, I think that's about time for us, Dave. So on behalf of the entire Grow with Google team, thank you so much for joining us today. And a big thanks to Dave and Constant Contact for all of the great information.